All right, if I could sum up one thing to improve anyone's corners, whether it's off-road, enduro, motocross, supercross, and I would say it was probably the most simple thing to improve somebody's corners and make them go faster or help them go faster, is going to be get your eyes up, look ahead. In this video, I'm going to just kind of show how you do it in the corners, because there's a misconception about looking ahead and people try to do it at the wrong spot in the corner. So I'll show you a corner here and how to do it. Okay, so this is entering the rut. I'm not quite in the corner yet. And this is the spot where when I tell people, look ahead, look at where you want to go. Well, you got to get into the rut, especially rutted corners. You got to get into the rut first. So as you can see, I'm actually just eyeing where I want to put my tires, okay? I haven't started rotating my head or looking that far ahead yet, because first things first, you got to get into the rut before you can look ahead and look at the exit of the corner. And this is one of the spots that I see when people try to look ahead. They'll start turning their head, 90 degrees to the left before they're even in the rut. Well, what that's going to do is you turn your head 90 degrees to the left, you're going to crank those bars, and that bike's going to turn 90 degrees to the left. You're going to cross rut, and that's going to be the end of your corner, and you're probably going to be on the ground. So here, before you're in the rut, just eye the rut. Look at the rut, look 15 feet ahead, 20 feet ahead, and just eye the rut where you want to put your tires. All right, so here I am just a few feet further up, and now you can see I've placed both tires in the rut. This is where I start to initiate my head swivel. I always tell everybody, have your head on a swivel when you're going through a corner, which means it's going to rotate as the corner turns. So I've placed both tires in the rut. I know I'm in the rut. I'm settled in the rut. Okay, now I'm here. I'm where I want to be. Now I can start looking ahead, because my bike, it's basically like a slot car, like when we were kids and we had the little slot car tracks. Once it's on the track, it's going to stay on that track, and that's why advancing your vision further ahead is going to help you get through that rut quicker. It's going to help you lean the bike over at the right angle. It's going to help you go faster through the corner. In this picture, you can tell my head is starting to turn to the left. This is a left-handed 180-ish type rut here, and you can see my eyes are up, my head's up, I'm looking ahead, and I am trying to follow the rut about 20 feet ahead of myself to keep my bike going through the rut at the right angle. If I was looking down in front of my front tire, I'm going to be riding 5 feet at a time, and I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. I'm going to see every inconsistency in that rut, every rock, every pebble, and it's going to be messing me up the whole way through. In the next picture, you will be able to see how much my head has turned, and I'm focusing actually beyond the bike. I'm looking to the left of the left front fork leg to follow that turn all the way through. Okay, so you can see, like I said, in the last picture, my head was pretty much in line with the fork legs. Now you can see my head is starting to turn towards the left and follow the rut out of the corner. And what this is allowing me to do is wherever your eyes go, the bike will follow. If you can pick your head up, once you get settled into that rut and look at the exit of the corner, everything else is going to work itself out. Your body is going to get that bike to the end of the corner. When your eyes are up, it's almost like the throttle and your eyes are connected. You are going to give it just enough throttle, just enough lean angle to get you over to that point to get you out of the corner. It's amazing how when I tell people to get their head up and put their eyes up and look ahead, how everything starts to come together in their corners, and it's almost effortless to lay the bike over, to get through the corner, to give it the right amount of throttle, just by picking their head and their eyes up and looking through the corner. All right, so I'm about halfway through the corner here, and now you can see, look where my vision is advancing. My head is, like I said, it's been on a swivel. Now, these are still frames through the corner, but you can see when you watch the video in real time or in slow motion, you can see how my head turns as I'm going through the corner. So I put my wheels into the rut about, 15 feet behind there. But then as I was in the rut, you can see how my vision just keeps advancing forward. So now I'm looking another 20 feet ahead of myself at the exit of the corner. And somehow, when your eyes are focused over there, the bike will just go that way. You will control the throttle with just enough throttle, not too little, not too much. And your eyes will keep the bike at the correct lean angle to get you over to that point. It's amazing when you look up how your eyes are connected to the throttle. I can't emphasize that enough. If you can look up through a corner and get your eyes up and look towards the end, everything falls into place. So you can see as I've started the corner how my vision has progressed. And too many people get fixated on that 5 feet in front of the front tire, and they're only riding 5 feet at a time. And essentially that's why they're going slow, because they're not looking ahead. You can gain instant speed by just looking ahead. And you can see how initially the little arrows that I drew on here, they weren't that far in front of the, ahead, looking ahead at least. But now I am looking as far ahead through this corner as I possibly can. So as you start the corner, you got to get settled in first of all. Then you slowly advance your vision forward, the first like 5 feet or so. But then as you get, you're in the rut, you just keep looking further and further ahead as you're going through the corner. And then you'll just pick up speed. So as the slowest point that we're entering the corner is typically right on entrance, right? So, but as we're building that speed in our corner, the vision has to advance with the throttle as well, because we can't just continue to look 5 feet ahead of ourselves, because we are not going to go fast through the corner. So the reason my vision keeps going out further and I'm looking further ahead is because my speed is advancing through the corner. I'm going faster as I go through the corner, so my vision has to look further ahead. All right, so one thing that I want to point out in this picture here is you can see my vision is still advancing forward, but look at the angle of my tire. Okay, I am subconsciously doing this because of my vision. My front tire is actually turning, and I'm utilizing my legs to make the bike turn. So I'm using my legs through the rut to control it. I'm on the balls of my feet. But that front tire is turned right perfectly at the angle of the rut that I want to follow. And that's because I am looking ahead. So now I'm making inputs with the rest of my body just because of where my eyes are focused. Okay, again, just like before, I have my vision focused ahead, and there's a lot going on here. I went from standing to sitting. I'm utilizing the clutch. I was utilizing the front brake, and I went from standing to sitting, but look at my front tire again. Okay, my vision is focused ahead, and I'm not thinking about making these inputs with my hands to the front wheel to make the front wheel turn, or utilizing, I am thinking about being on the balls of my feet and, using some pressure to, put the bike and get the correct lean angle. But I'm not doing any kind of calculation in my head on this is how much my bike needs to lean, or this is how much I need to turn the handlebars. The reason that all the inputs are following the rut and I'm making the correct inputs, not too much, not too little, is just because of my eyes focusing ahead. I am subconsciously making the correct inputs to get my bike through the corner. Okay, so here's the rest of the corner, and instead of rambling on like I have been, I'm just going to wrap up the rest of the corner. So as you get out of the corner, the important thing is just to look ahead. Look at the next obstacle, the next corner, whatever you have coming up next. Up here you have another rutted little section with a step up. So as soon as I'm exiting this corner, I am looking at the next corner. I'm not staring at anything on the straightaway. I'm just trying to get to that next corner that I want to get to. So you can see the motion of my head. Eyes were forward in the first shot. They're still looking forward. I mean, my head could have been a little more up in that second one. Third corner, I'm going over a little rise, or third picture, sorry. And then the last one, my head's up. I'm looking at the next corner I want to go through. So give this a shot next time you go out. Really focus on advancing your vision when you're going through the corners. It makes a huge, huge difference. And I would say that when I am focusing on corners, yes, I work on all kinds of things with, the people I work with. I work on braking, throttle control, but vision, getting their heads up. I feel like I repeat it every time that we do a session is get your eyes up, put your head up, look through the corner. I would say that, 80% of the time, this is one of the biggest flaws that people have is they ride 5 feet in front of their tire the entire time. Give it a shot. Advance your vision, look up. I have another video on how to tape your goggles that really helps. When you do that, it kind of forces you to look up. You have to ride the whole track with your head up. My neck actually gets a little sore from having your head up so high. I do it pretty frequently with myself and with the people I work with. But yep, hopefully this all makes sense. And if you got any comments or questions, put it in the chat box. I try to reply to as many people as I can. And thanks for watching.